you've got companies today, we've talked to all of our customers today, some of them are reeling, right? Absolutely reeling and didn't really feel prepared for this, not at this wide scale. And, unfortunately, it's always after the fire happens that we install the sprinklers, right?
Wow.
That's right.
This is not a time to be doing that kind of stuff, right? So now that this has happened, it's a big wake-up call for a lot of people.
Well, hey, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We want to do a quick special video to highlight something crazy going on in the world today with Crowdstrike and Microsoft and cybersecurity and IT and all that stuff. So I've got some people that are a lot smarter than me in the room with me. My name is Luke Gajari. I'm the marketing manager here at the McKinney EDC. And we brought in some experts in this industry who hopefully can help speak to what is happening in the world. So I'd love to you guys introduce yourself, what company you're with, what you do, and then we'll just let's just talk shop. What in the world is going on today? So go ahead and kick us off.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having us, Luke. I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
My name's Rick Webster. I'm with Falkon Technologies. We're an outsourced IT provider that also specializes in cybersecurity.
Perfect.
Again, thanks for having us, Luke. And my name's Josh Aaron. I'm with Aiden Technologies. Aiden is modern software deployment and endpoint management. And we basically make sure the computers get all the software they're supposed to have and nothing they're not supposed to have.
Luke, great to be here. Stan Golubchik, CEO of ContraForce. We provide a cybersecurity platform. It does security service delivery, and it enables profitable and highly scalable services for MSPs, managed service providers, to deliver better security outcomes for their clients. Looking forward to the conversation.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here, taking time. Today is not a great day. So let's talk about let's just explain like I'm five, because like I said, you guys are all a lot smarter in this area than I am. What happened? Why are flights grounded? And what on earth happened? Explain like I'm five.
So what happened today is, unfortunately, one of the major security players in the industry that actually protects us all, Crowdstrike, and of course they're being blamed for this now, look like a villain in the media, which I do want to talk about today.
Okay.
They pushed out an update in the middle of the night last night. Actually, probably happened right before midnight, I think. And we're trying to pinpoint the exact timing now. It was supposed to be a file that helps us actually secure the computers, but instead it actually used up a lot of system resources and memory, caused everybody's computers to go to blue screen of death. It wasn't ubiquitous. Some computers had the problem and some didn't.
Okay.
It got pushed out. But you've got some major credit card companies saying they had 22% of all of their computers get hit with this problem.
Wow.
The Social Security Agency is down. As you said, flights are down and travel is shut down globally. Banks are shut down in some cases. A lot going on today. People are saying it's the worst incident in history.
That's
and
right.
Unfortunately, self-inflicted by the IT community, the people that secure us at Crowdstrike. But, when we say that they're the villain, we have to be very, very careful because everybody is trying to get this right. And CrowdStrike's been the hero many, many, many times.
Wow. Okay. So this wasn't a cyber attack from China or Russia or you said this is something that happened internally that was just someone made a mistake. Is that the...
That's right.
This wasn't from a nation state. This was not adversarial behavior, not bad actor behavior.
Okay.
It was unintentional.
But there's a lot of miscommunication about it.
I know, that's why I'm asking.
A lot of
That's part of why we're doing
Absolutely.
this, right?
You got to make a story, right? So,
Yeah.
there was a software team or individual within CrowdStrike that pushed out code that had issues. So the quality assurance done through that software development lifecycle was not done appropriately. And sometimes you kind of get past some of these checks and balances that are in that software development lifecycle. And by doing that, you expose potential issues, compatibility issues with other software, in this case, Windows, working with the CrowdStrike Falkon sensor. So that caused the blue screen of death, and things just stopped working. So
Not associated with Falcon.
No, did
Just
not.
to say.
Different Falcon.
Yeah.
Different
Spelled
Falcon.
differently.
Falcon's flying high, absolutely.
MSPs
Yes.
are helping our customers today.
Yeah. So, and that's more of a fundamental issue I think we're just having. We were all talking about this earlier as well. The industry, from a cyber vendor perspective, we always have the outside threat. We have the inside threat. The inside threat's the human threat, either non-malicious intent activities, or we do something wrong in the supply chain by delivering and developing the software that is not the right quality and the expectation it should be before it goes out live. So, there's some government and broader policies that are trying to right now be pushed through the United States and globally And it just really is a good opportunity, I think, to kind of reflect out what's going on and figure out how do we kind of raise the tide and do better from a vendor perspective.
Before we get into fixing that, we should really deeply understand the problem. One of the things that compounded it is the fact that Microsoft BitLocker encryption or other types of encryption for hard disk encryption run on enterprise computers. So even though CrowdStrike was pretty quick to come out and say what file needed to be changed, how to fix the problem, enterprise customers could not get into their computer systems, even IT in some cases.
That's right.
Right? You needed to be like a super admin to get your BitLocker encryption keys or other encryption keys, know the process to hard boot a machine, and there's lots of different types of devices. It doesn't always work exactly the same on every device.
Yeah.
And then get into that machine and put in your BitLocker encryption key, which users, for example, wouldn't even know where to get it. They need IT to do this on a one-by-one basis and help them. This is like a sneaker net kind of problem, right? Where you have to actually get around to all the people that are affected with the problem and unlock their computers and get those computers restarted.
So IT departments couldn't push out an update to everyone's affected computer. It would had to be dealt with one-on-one.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
Wow.
In most companies, yes, that's the way it would work.
And here's the scary thing, right? We think about these big companies, these big global organizations where they have a lot of IT resources.
Yeah.
Think about the small mom and pop shops, right? That can't spell IT, right? But they're impacted by this, right?
Yeah.
They don't have the technical resources or the know-how to address this issue. So, you think about the financial impact to the world. The news is obviously focusing, on the big meaty components of it, right? The 911 and emergency services, airlines, things like that. But, it's going to be really interesting to see how this unfolds and what the global economic impact is to small businesses.
Yeah.
One of the big problems, though, is this really shows how interconnected we really all are.
Right.
It's kind of like when we had the SolarWinds attack or the Kaseya attack a few years ago, and those were attacks. This time it was self-inflicted, unfortunately, by the IT community, if you will. It happened from one of the vendors, although, like I said, I don't really want to blame a vendor. Things do happen. They're normally here to protect us.
Right.
But, when this happens, what you see is that now it affects so broadly all these computers all over the world. Immediately.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have massive problems in economic impact, travel impact, surgeries that were scheduled, people can't get in for. They're having to postpone it at major hospitals. It's devastating. They're saying this is the worst incident that's happened ever, potentially in the computer networks in the world.
So part of me wants to go like, oh, job security for you guys, great thing. You guys get to stay in business. But what I'm hearing here is kind of more of a somber tone of like, this is just a bad day across the industry overall. Like,
Very unfortunate.
No one's happy this happened.
Yeah, it's a bad day. It's not job security, at least on the vendor side, because we have to increase our capability to ensure that this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Because this is within the internal organization of any security vendor.
Yeah.
They all develop software very similar ways. It's all very similar methodologies and frameworks. And so if we don't align with those and we don't have assurance and controls and checks to make sure that that quality of software is being released, not only timely, but with efficiency and quality, we're putting everyone at risk. So it's a little bit of a wake-up moment for the vendor side. This is now also an isolated instance. It's been happening since when I was at McAfee. We had something very similar. And so it's been happening for well over a decade and probably even longer at this point. So we just need to continue focusing on how do we make sure that we mitigate that risk and reduce that risk over time.
It also creates fear, uncertainty, and down across the entire business community.
Yeah.
And that's bad for everyone. What happens when you villainize a vendor like CrowdStrike is people start thinking that the cure is worse than the illness. And then you have this problem where now we don't trust the vendors and the solution providers, and we add more regulatory governance, which ties up more of their time to try to meet regulatory governance and all of those kinds of controls, which are necessary, but they don't actually solve the problem typically. They take away IT's time to actually solve the problem. And so this creates a really bad situation. A friend of mine texted me this morning something about, well, this must be a great day for SentinelOne.
Right.
That's the wrong attitude.
Yeah.
I told them it is not a great day for SentinelOne, us, or anyone else in the industry.
Exactly.
Because now our job is that much harder to go out and do.
Well, even for MSPs like us, right? Our phones have been ringing off the hook. They're not existing clients, right? These are new clients that are having this problem. And I think about those MSPs, right? Because there's a lot of them that may have chosen CrowdStrike, right? Now they got a black eye because they think it's the MSP's fault.
Right.
Yes.
And they chose a great product. Make no mistake, CrowdStrike is a really great product. It's one of the best in the industry. But it makes IT in general, technologists in general, just look bad.
Yeah. This whole foundation we have in security and IT, it's built on trust. And so when you start to shake up that foundation, it's very difficult to rebuild it in a way that you don't have those cracks in that foundation. So yeah, it's not the best day for sure.
It's also bad for business because the number one reason that people get hacked these days are things like email phishing, right, or credential harvesting. But there's another issue at stake here, which is this was an update that got pushed out. And the number 3 cause of problems is pushing out or not pushing out patches and updates. We see this all the time in our business.
That's right.
The Verizon DBI report, which is the data breach investigations report that came out in May, talked about 50% of all businesses take 55 days or longer to patch a critical vulnerability. Wow. Now they're going to be more afraid to do so.
That's 2
and they
months.
need automation or solutions or things they can rely upon that will make this happen. Otherwise, the dwell time is so long, the hackers have an opportunity to exploit these vulnerabilities in enterprise networks. And unfortunately, when you have a bad day like this in IT, everybody says, whoa, put the brakes on all these updates. They got brakes.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I used to, the previous company I worked at, a cybersecurity company, our big mantra inside was don't suck at patching, right? Patch as soon as you possibly can. And you bring up an excellent point. There's going to be fear around that. And that's one of the most important things that you can do from, to protect yourself, right, is to keep your systems patched.
So a process that already has some lag time and some slow, people are slow to do it, this is even going to slow it down further.
Has the potential.
Well, this is a bit of also a double-edged sword because patching, agree with you guys, is critical. You have to have that. There's vulnerabilities that have high vulnerability score, can be critical for your company to be actually compromised if you don't fix it. But the thing is, when you have these detection platforms and tools that are supposed to stop breaches, they're pushing content and features to stay ahead of the threat actors.
That's right.
So it's kind of a balancing act. Like, do I accept the new feature and capability to stop this threat so I can stay one step ahead of the threat actor? If I don't, because I'm a little bit worried about what it might do to my systems, meaning is everything going to go down? Then you're kind of, really balancing with faith there. So it's a bit of that's the whole thing with cybersecurity. It's always been a balance. How much security do I really want? Because it could actually restrict my business operational outcomes. So that balance is going to be hard. And I think this is going to make it a little more difficult to actually really swallow the pill of where do I want my features and how much do I want that to extend out as well.
Wow. So where do we go from here? Let's say the business community in McKinney or a business owner, what can I do next? How do I mean, obviously this is a very complex problem. It's bigger than if I run a cupcake shop or something that uses technology. How do I make sure that I'm not causing myself to be open to these vulnerabilities or what's some advice that you would give in next steps that we can do?
I would say don't let this be a fear problem, right? At the end of the day, we were just talking about how this has the potential to slow down patching, right? So don't do that, right? Continue to patch as you should. And if you don't have technology resources, you need to get them, right? This was not a cyber attack like we talked about, but that's still a very real and present threat.
Yeah.
So definitely start by getting help if you don't have it. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah. It's also the time to call in your vendors, call in your legal counsel, call in your outside experts, and really examine all your processes and controls and communication strategies from a business perspective.
Right.
You've got companies today, we've talked to all of our customers today, some of them are reeling, right? Absolutely reeling and didn't really feel prepared for this, not at this wide scale. And, unfortunately, it's always after the fire happens that we install the sprinklers, right?
Wow.
That's right.
This is not a time to be doing that kind of stuff, right? So now that this has happened, it's a big wake-up call for a lot of people. Make sure you're actually doing tabletop exercises and disaster recovery, not just plans, but testing your disaster recovery projects and procedures. It's really, really important. Luckily, we do a lot of those things in our company, so we were able to get through it and be there to help our customers. But we saw people that have not been prepared well enough. And not just the business people and the IT people that have to do it, the end users didn't know what to do in a situation like this, right? They walk into work, they're blue screen of death on their machine, and they don't even know who to call.
Right.
You would think they would know the communication plan for the company when there's an incident.
Wow.
Yeah. As security incidents, the reality is that they're always going to happen. And this is not really the fear, uncertainty, doubt piece. It's just the reality, which is if it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's a matter of when.
Right.
And so to Josh's point, if you look at a security incident, we call that a boom. You have a left of boom, that's a spectrum, meaning anything proactive you can implicate. You can implicate certain things as policy, controls, You go ride a boom, that's reactive. How do I have a recovery plan? Do I recover my hard drives? Do I re-image my machines? There's a lot of things you can do. That plan is critical. You can work with an MSP who can help you with that plan. You can work with actual vendors that help you draw to the attention of recovery. But that plan, you have to know what it is, right? If you don't have a plan, what's going to happen? You're going to have disaster, right? So I think that's really critical for any business to understand that these things are going to happen to you. And it happens to the best of us, i.e. CrowdStrike. So they have a plan, and they actually had a great incident response plan to this disaster, as every other company should. If the best security vendors in the world have a plan, it's a good idea that you have one as well.
On that subject, Stan, it just so happens, and it's ironic, I was thinking that Monday is sysadmin day, if you haven't heard about it.
This coming Monday?
Celebrate the people that do this,
Here
right?
we go.
I mean, these are weekend warriors, and I'm actually quite proud of our team at Aiden. I woke up at about 3, 4 in the morning, something between 3 and 4. My wife got me out of bed. She happened to get up to go to the bathroom and saw the news. And of course, when I called in, I was concerned that nobody would be on the problem, and they were already on the problem.
Wow.
Yeah, same thing here at Falkon.
Working around the clock.
I got woke up early as well, so I immediately called our East Coast team because we've got coverage coast to coast, and they're like, "Yeah, we're already on it."
Oh, great.
Right, and it's just yeah. So
Well,
it's great to have great teams. To your point, right?
I've never heard that left of boom, right of boom way of thinking. And to tie into your sprinkler analogy, it's kind of like the preventative fire maintenance, changing the sprinkler or the fire alarm batteries, having a map of where to evacuate versus the actual fire drill and like knowing
That's right.
what's going to happen when this happens, like actually knowing what to do.
Yeah, bad actors, adversaries, everything they do, it's multi-stage, it's multi-step. There's a process. So they're doing multiple things, either maliciously or not. As a company, you should be doing the same thing.
That was the number one thing we were worried about with our customers. We're like, while this is happening, what else might be going on? It was the first question we asked, right?
Yeah.
Particularly when their attention is diverted. It isn't just the fact that the systems might have had a problem where they could be compromised. You've got IT and the business's attention completely diverted. And while you're looking somewhere else, somebody else might be doing
This is a distraction. Wow.
That's right.
I didn't think about it like that.
It's a great day for threat actors.
That's right, it is. Absolutely, yeah.
And we're probably going to get, this isn't going to be the end of it. We're probably going to hear a lot over the next couple of weeks about threat actors that did get into places while this was going on and exploited this as an opportunity for themselves.
Yeah. Like Stan said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that's not to be fearful and go in a box and put all my passwords on an Excel spreadsheet. But it is to be mindful this problem is not going to get any less impactful, right? This is just getting more and more intense. And so it's time to fix the sprinklers. Love that analogy. I love a good analogy. So.
And know how to communicate about the sprinklers that you've fixed.
That's good.
Right?
Yeah.
This is the time to really think about what's your communication plans.
Yeah.
Have these problems.
The blueprints and the plans behind the scenes, that's so good. So
Resiliency is key.
wow.
Yeah.
So let's land the plane here. How do we get in touch with you guys if we want to follow you or get connected? And if you have anything else to say that maybe didn't get said in this conversation, let's just go down the line, kind of like wish everybody well, say goodbye, and maybe how do we connect with your company or follow you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Rick Webster, you can reach us at www.falkon, that's spelled with a K, .net.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you, Luke. Josh Aaron, and it's Aiden Technologies, and our website is www.meetaiden.com. The one thing I do want to say is my hearts go out to all the sysadmin professionals that are going to spend this weekend before their big holiday on Monday working. They're going to come into work tired on Monday. Please thank them for the job that they did. This is not going to be an easy week for anybody.
Absolutely. Luke, again, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure. Stan Golubchik, CEO, ContraForce. You can find more information at www.contraforce.com. We're always happy to support. We're kind of more on the general side of incident response, but for us, we understand how hard the situation is. We've been in the space, and we really hope that this can be a learning experience for us to all improve as an industry. So I think, this table here, we're all pretty optimistic on what we can do together. So we look forward to that.
Love to hear it. Thank you guys again for taking the time out of probably the hardest day that you've had in a while to be here with us and spend some time educating the community about what's going on. It really means a lot to us. So, and I'll put links to all their websites in the notes of this show, and you can follow up with them on LinkedIn or their website and stay connected. If they can serve you in any way, I'm sure they would love to do so. So thanks again, guys.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you, Luke.
Luke.